right, welcome to Buffalo Plus. The Bills are now the AFC East winners. Mike Catalana, Dan Fates, I'm Jenna Cottrell. A statement win over the Denver Broncos, 48-19. Josh Allen, 2 rushing touchdowns, 2 passing touchdowns. What does this mean? It's been 25 years, Mike. The Bills finally winning the conference.
Yeah, this is no miracle. This is not like when they clinched the playoffs a few years ago where it was like they needed help and they finally made it in and it wasn't that great of a team. No, this built over this period of time, the 4 years, but it really built this whole season where you knew they were the best team in the division. They showed it, and then they finished it on the field. And I think it was really an impressive game. And, you know, we all picked them to win today, but all of us thought the game would be closer. So I almost feel like I picked the game wrong. I thought the Bills would win. I'm more impressed. I think we all still held back a little bit because we're waiting for that moment where they don't rise to the occasion. And they did it today, man. They were, and you know what? If it wasn't for a couple of weird plays, I mean, you know, Roberts doesn't usually fumble punts. He gives it back to him. And then there was a bad call on another drive. And then they took away, I think, 7 Bills touchdowns at one point with the officials. This game would have been even more of a romp, and it was a huge, easy win. So congrats to them, man. They are a really, really good football team.
Yeah, I guess we can't keep thinking that the offense is going to lay an egg. I feel like we keep thinking that, like, oh, well, Josh will calm down or Josh will come back to earth a little bit. I was right. I thought the defense would dial up. I thought Drew Lock would come back down to earth. But like we said, I thought it was going to be a closer game. It wasn't. It wasn't even as close as the final score of the blowout show. This was a total domination on every facet of every side of the game. And just to see the maturity, and again, I know we talked about this before, but the composure, Mike, you talked about, like, they don't have poor efforts. This team just isn't one of those teams. It's a well-coached team. It plays wiser beyond its years. Like you would never see, like you know, like New England would never suffer back-to-back losses. Like that was their thing. Like this team just has that kind of mental composure of just being like, we know what's at stake. We're going to do it because we're better than you. And that's the bottom line.
But Jenna, what's different about it is that they haven't done it. Do you know what I mean? Like that
usually it's like, act like we've been there before, but the Bills are really doing that because they haven't been there before.
And you look at their roster, they don't have guys that, you know, Micah Hyde's been to the playoffs, okay? You know, he was with Green Bay. But for the most part, you know, Stephon Diggs had the huge moment in the Minneapolis Miracle, right? But most of these guys have not been big playoff guys. A few of the Carolina guys were around and all, but it's spread out. There's a lot of them that are just growing up together. And I think it's impressive to see. You know, the accolades will come, and I know that's not what the focus is now, but man, Allen is right there in that tier for MVP. You can't say he's not one of the most valuable players in the whole sport right now. And Sean McDermott should be up there.
He's going to win Player of the Week again.
Yeah, I mean, we do have all the other games, but it's going to be tough to beat this.
It's going to be tough to beat 4 total touchdowns, almost 400 total yards, clinching a playoff spot. And Mahomes has got to play the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints.
So, there's a good defense. So, like, normally you're looking at those 2 guys this year. I mean, Jenna, I guess we like underestimated the offense again with just how good Josh Allen played against a quality Denver defense.
Yeah, well, their secondary's banged up, but they toyed with him, Jenna. Toyed with him.
Can I speak? Are you guys?
I don't know. We were going pretty good there, Dan.
I just felt like I was sitting here. I think tonight we saw how much further along in terms of the maturation process this team is than maybe we expected. We've been covering this team for quite some time, and I think we always, in the back of our mind, fall back on what this team used to be like, or having a Bills loss, or maybe being too high after a win and having that letdown game. But I think under Sean McDermott, this team is just a different type of focus. I think what's different about this team, and Mike, you mentioned it earlier, like earlier when the Bills broke the playoff drought, they were just excited to be there. This team is not excited to be here. They want more. And everyone said that today. Yeah, the AFC East title is great, but we want more. We know there's still more meat on the bone. And I think that just shows how much this team has bought in to the process, but also how well that this team has been able to take that success because they all believe that they're capable of so much more. That's what I had to say.
You know us so well.
Like texted me.
Oh, what did you say, jerk?
I said, just give her moment here. Let her go. But you're right. They are that way. Now, look, there's still things out there for them in the regular season. I really do believe it's important to be the 2 seed. And I think they're better than Pittsburgh. I don't want to see them have to go there in that game. I mean, I don't want to see the Bills end up losing a game when it was right there in front of them. They're not catching the Chiefs. But let's see what happens this week. I want to see them play well in Foxborough just because they never win there. And then see what happens, how the season plays out. Don't take unnecessary risks. A few guys got banged up. But if you can be the 2 seed, go for it. Be the 2 seed. Be home against Pittsburgh instead of on the road.
And it's also interesting, too, we've seen, and, you probably see on Twitter the post-game locker room reaction, McDermott's great speech, all of those reactions. But the players then quickly came back down to earth when they talked to us in the media. And, I kept saying, like, how excited are you guys? What does this win mean? We've talked about it on BuffaloPlus.com. Like, what would a win mean? And they all kind of put it into perspective. And Josh Allen at one point looks down at his shirt and goes, 1 not done. Like, this is it. And, like, Jordan Poyer actually said Super Bowl. Like, they said, like, this isn't the ultimate goal. Like, it's crazy to think that this is how this team thinks. And, like, they're open about it. Like, I didn't know if they would say Super Bowl. Like, I didn't think they would go there, but they did. And Jerry Hughes said the same thing. A guy that has been around here for all of the highs and lows, and there were plenty more lows. Kind of saying too, like, we're not done. And guess what? Like, we're going to enjoy this, and then we're back to work.
And you know what? I asked Cole Beasley I said, how often do you think of Houston? How often do you think of that game? And when's the last time you thought of it? And he's like, oh, I think about it. He goes, when you lose like that, it just sticks with you. And I think it did. Now, it also adds a level of pressure because this team has not won a playoff game. And I know, it's this franchise with McDermott. And they lost to Jacksonville, lost that Houston game. And in this case, like there's going to be pressure in that first playoff game, no matter who they play. Now, they're better than those teams, but there's pressure because they're good now. And,
but this team has also said they feel like they know how to handle adversity.
You're right.
I think that was the big thing we've talked about this season. Heading into this offseason, didn't we talk about, Jenna, who was going to handle COVID and adversity better, was going to be the best?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even Sean McDermott repeated that. He said earlier on before the games even started, whoever handles COVID the best is probably going to win it all.
But we're not to the playoffs yet. They go through the regular season. It is scary when you see guys get nicked up. Diggs goes to the locker room. Josh, what he was doing on that one play where he's trying to block and he gets clipped by the legs. Like, I know you can get hurt on any play, but, Beasley got banged around a little bit today, and then Trey was down. Like, all those things can happen, right? And here they are playing up by 25 points in the fourth quarter. So, guys are going to be on the field, but they're sharp right now. They're playing really well, and I'm only saying they're not as good as the Chiefs at the moment because the Chiefs have done it. That's the only reason I wouldn't say they're the best team in the AFC right now.
Bad day to be a Josh Hader or Nick Wright. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Hey, look, Nick Wright is, he's playing this up. He's a Kansas City guy. He's got Cowherd going on it. One's on the Bills. But isn't it great that that's the conversation now about the Bills? That it's like, what's the worst thing you're going to say about them? They're the second best team in the league?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I got nervous before the game when everyone on NFL Network picked the Bills to win.
Yeah,
I was like, oh, that's scary.
But the same thing happened Sunday night. Everybody except Rodney Harrison because he still has, Patriots syndrome going on. But, they're going to pick the Bills. People love the Bills right now. They are.
But I feel like it goes back to when we were talking about earlier of like, there were tendencies of past teams to let down in big.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
And it's that like hangover almost for a lot of people of like, ooh, what's going to happen? The pressure's on. How is this team going to respond? And they've responded.
Absolutely. I think it's a great point, Jenna, because I was the same way. I think we all had that going into this game, going like, well, it's a weird spot. I was saying it too. 2 primetime games. You're playing the Patriots next week. And like I said, the guys were like, we're going to enjoy this on the flight, and we got to go play on Monday night against, in Foxborough. It's like this team is already they're moving on. It's crazy because this is a massive moment for a Bills franchise to get a little slice of getting back to the glory days of when Mike was covering the team when he first started.
No kidding. And you know what? They've won by, what was it, 10, 10, 10, 11, in, very consistently, which are comfortable wins at the end, but they're not blowouts. So that's why you maybe didn't see this coming, because they didn't have a blowout win, huge win. And man, they did today. I was very impressed. I think John Feliciano said he thought it was their best all-around game. He said, except for those mistakes, and those came in those benches, and it's a lot of officials' calls. They just like throwing flags there, but they were dominant. So except for the Roberts fumble, you see what bad special teams can do. What was the deal with the kicker today, Denver?
Yeah,
he looked like a 31-year-old rookie.
Well, he will be an unemployed. Yeah. You really felt badly for him?
I did, because, you want to hear – I root for stories. I mean, if he kicked all the field goals, it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Big J journalist, root for stories.
Yeah.
I root for stories, but no, I mean, he's 31. That's like, so bad.
Bye.
Yeah, I was going to say, he had a shot. But no, I mean, I think I loved the Jerry Hughes scoop and score. Like, for how much he's been through with the team.
Yep. And
he's been through the lows and lows. Like, I thought it was poetic justice for him to be able to take in the score. And
it's sort of like, when Kyle Williams got his run.
Yes.
For his touchdown, which was great. But in this case, this was still in, I guess that was still during the game, but like this was big. And Jerry's had a really good year for them. So he deserves it. He absolutely deserves to have a big play in the biggest moment of the season.
No, I agree. Any other points you want to talk about before we wrap up?
Well, we were going to let you make them. Tons
of good stuff. Nice. Yeah, tons more great stuff on Buffalo Plus. I mean, the soundbite, that Josh Allen had on Brian Dable is the one that we will save for when Brian Dable gets a head coaching job, about just that the deep ball to Diggs is a play that he told Ken Dorsey that he wanted to have called. And then, of course, Brian Dable calls it, and then he completes it. So he said that, he not only loves him as a coach, he loves him as a person, and to have that trust means, the world to him. So great moment there. Sean McDermott said he couldn't be more proud of him, and that said that, quarterbacks that play at his level right now are hard to find. And hey, there are a lot of Bills fans out there, and it's okay to admit, because it's okay to be wrong. You were booing on draft night when they said Allen instead of Rosen.
Oof.
And that now is a one crazy moment. Like, Mike, there are probably a lot of Bills fans that say they were at the comeback that weren't at the comeback. There are a lot of Bills fans that are like, I loved Allen when we drafted him. Loved him. I was so against Josh Rosen, you have no idea. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mike and I met him very early on.
Yep.
And we were there when a Cowboys fan asked Josh to sign his hat in like the upper level of the seats, and Josh threw up the hat to him, and it fell right into his hands. Accuracy.
And look at that. Jenna knew that in 3 years he was going to become one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. She called it
a long game. All right, we're getting off the rails. Make sure to check out buffaloplus.com as well as the YouTube page. If you're on the YouTube page, please like and comment and subscribe. We really appreciate it. It helps get our content out there. And then also we do have a podcast called Buffalo Plus. You can check it out wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to subscribe to that and also like and comment. We always appreciate it. For Dan and Mike, I am Jenna. We appreciate it. We'll see you as the Bills get ready for another primetime game against New England this upcoming Monday.